It's an impossible way of life. You and me living like Bonnie and Clyde, hungover and out of time.
Oh boy.
Stick together, we will make it to the gig on time.
That's right, folks. Welcome to Impossible Way of Life, your bi-weekly rock and roll podcast. Mostly Beatlesy, sometimes Kinksy, as it is at its core right now.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, we don't normally dive in so quickly, but I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving it, dude.
Yeah.
How are you?
It. I'm well. I'm very well.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about our new theme song and whether you're sticking to it or if we've lost the Righteous Brothers forever, you know?
That one's been in my mind a lot.
If you believe in forever, you know. Then.
Well, listen, it's not been... I don't know. I think that, to be honest, that playing that song at the start of every episode is probably why none of our podcasts end up on the internet.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we
Do you know what? How does Rick Beato get away with it? He plays fucking...
Pays them, probably.
No. Yeah, maybe, but still, like...
It's
no,
true,
he doesn't
though. If
pay
we just
them.
stopped playing music, then we'd be able to have our show on YouTube. And
but
stuff,
you know what? We're artists, and it's about the art, and it's an important facet of what we do.
Yeah,
I did watch him talking about the Grammys. Really hard to watch interview with him, but he was, just talking about the basic, the sort of psychodrama of the Grammys and how they don't make much sense, really, which is probably because genre is changing so much. You know, genres are, they're blending and folding.
Yeah.
And if there's a little man in this one, and I won't let it affect my performance. But, he was talking about this kind of stuff, and he did actually make me laugh. I have to give it to him.
Wow.
I don't think he meant it as a joke, but maybe he did. But it was actually a really good point. And so shout out to Beato for getting me with this. Okay. In amongst his rant, because he does do boomer rants, right? That's most of his content is like boomer rants about how things don't make sense and they used to make sense. He talked about the rock category, the best rock performance, best rock album, I think, and how out of all of the artists nominated, except for Idols and Fontaine's DC, that he tried to listen to. And I can get to that. He was just like, basically every other artist should be on the seniors tour, like a PGA style Grammys.
Yep. Yeah.
Because it's like the Stones, the Beatles, Pearl Jam, and Jack White even. Like, he's 50.
Pushing seniors.
He's like, Fred Couples.
He's in his victory lap on the PGA tour.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, hey, wow, he qualified one more time. Amazing.
Yeah, so
I think that, a friend of mine I was talking about was telling me that the Grammys just sort of seemed like a bunch of seniors up there just doing their thing, playing music still, with all of their rich children that they've brought up with them to be musicians too.
And it's funny because I don't know how we talked about the cabal a little bit recently.
Yeah.
But it becomes it's very mysterious and mystifying to me how it works. I'm relatively, there's got to have been better records surely than Hackney Diamonds that came out.
Rock records did.
Yeah, there has to be.
Not straight rock and roll. Like what?
It sounds like
name one.
Well, certainly, I would say the Lemon Twigs record was better. Fontaine's
not
DC's
really
record was better.
Roll, is it?
Oh, not proper rock and roll.
Not rock, dude.
Rock.
It's not rock. It's more like indie, wussy shit. It's not balls to the wall rock like the Stones do.
It's true. So
more like
fucking true.
golden years fly by. It's more like that
Right,
kind of
instead
stuff.
of I don't get angry.
Instead of like, don't get angry with me.
Yeah, that's it.
I
You got
won't
it.
get angry with you.
The drum
kind of
beat at
thing.
the start of that song sounds like it was just like loop one that they got in like a rock pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Rock pack. Like
Yep.
rock pack on Logic. You could
100%.
check. I bet it's on Logic.
I've heard it. I've heard that beat on Logic.
And then they say like Steve Jordan just pretends he did it. He's like, yeah, it was me. And everyone's like, it's just incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Tuned up.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I do want to, before we get into like really dissing on the Grammys, which I
don't
wanna
even
keep
really
doing.
want to diss.
Well,
I
not-
don't.
call it what you want.
No,
but-
I want to talk about how good the Kinks are.
Yeah, I do, but I just want to give a shout out to patron and listener of ours, Jonathan Wilson,
Fuck yeah.
for he recorded and produced that version of "I Love L.A." by Randy Newman that
good
Dawes
tune.
performed at the Grammys.
I didn't see it, but that's
And,
awesome.
Apparently, according to a headline, stole the show. So, and he
Well, they're proper. They're musicians.
Yeah.
Still, still doing it.
so nice to see something like that, and Randy Newman tune,
Yeah.
something like that happening there. That
I
was
should
cool.
watch it. I've not seen that.
A bit star-studded performance
everyone
of
was
it.
there.
Cheryl Crow.
Uh-huh.
I forget who else, but not Randy. He did post about it on Instagram though, which was nice.
Condolences
Randy.
to Jacob Collier for not winning Album of the Year, but once again managing to win. He's got his own little category, right? It's kind of like the way I like to think of it. His category is best arrangement in instrumental or a cappella. It's a made up category that he wins every year.
And it's made for him, tailor-made.
It's made for
because
him. It's a bit
Yeah.
like, in the Tour de France, they have like the yellow jersey, but then they have like the king of the mountains, or they have
Yeah.
like the sprint champion. And some people just focus on that. Like it's like a game within a game.
Or when we were watching the Olympics, a lot of those events where it's
it's
just kind
that.
of like,
Yeah.
well, this is in it now?
Yeah,
Like
this- yeah, it-
most demented arrangement is now a category?
It actually should be called that. Extreme Grammys. And the Grammy Award for the most demented instrumental
Yeah.
or a cappella arrangement.
Yeah, how to, most manipulated melody.
Possible.
Like, how far can you take just a basic melody that Paul
Yeah.
Simon wrote?
Yeah, and
how
destroy
many
it.
octaves
Yeah.
and different keys and
Yeah.
scales can it be like that? Like, how far can you stretch one song?
Well, I just want. Here's what I'm
Yeah.
saying to everybody listening.
Yeah.
This, it's like I often think one day. It's like we're talking about sports. It's like one day someone's going to be like, "Wait a minute, curling."
Yeah.
Like some professional athletes, like you
Well,
watch
that's in it.
curling, and it's like hockey moms from Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
like in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you imagine if just like someone of any kind of like athletic ability was like, wait a minute, this is a thing we can do.
Yeah.
Like just get like LeBron James in there, Steph Curry, some guys with range, some guys with good feel,
Yeah.
They did crush it. They could win a Winter Olympic medal.
You think LeBron James would be a good curler?
I reckon just people who
I think so.
understand distance.
I think
like,
he'd be
and throw
amazing
things.
at curling.
I do
The
too.
hardest part for him would be probably the sliding part. He'd have to learn that.
Well, they kind of slide a bit in basketball.
Presumably the sweeping too, because I bet he doesn't have to do much cleaning in his life. LeBron, he doesn't
No.
do much sweeping. Whereas the people who curl, if you're a professional
that's the
curler,
thing, they sweep
You're
a lot
still
at home.
sweeping your
Yeah.
house.
You are.
So
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it in that.
yeah.
I didn't think
So
about
don't.
that.
Yeah. Well, you should. Like, don't forget
Yeah.
about that element of it. you know?
Yeah. But so what I'm saying is, I think that we should look at as a community, as at the Impossible Way of Life community. There's a lot of very, very smart, erudite, sophisticated, but also creative people who listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And I think we should take a look at the Grammys,
Yeah.
see some of these niche categories, and pick one, and we should all try and figure out how to win it together. We'd be able to come up with a more demented arrangement, possibly, like as a community, than Jacob Collier. I want to take him on. I want to pick a
Yeah.
song and try and. I'll spend a year on it.
We should do one like yesterday. or something.
But
you
make
know,
it
just-
completely insane.
Completely insane.
There's someone we know who can do theory like really well.
You know what though? This is the lame part about that category, about what he does. This is why I think it's stupid. AI could do that.
Yeah, of course.
You could program it, hey, take Bridge Over Troubled Water, and you could program it, add as much like arpeggiated notation and like all this stuff, and it would just be like, it would do it. But AI couldn't write Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yeah, but it would win that category.
I know, so
St.
maybe we could use that thing that
St.
you
Vincent,
used to...
she's in the cabal. She won 3 Grammys.
How's that possible?
I don't know. Like... She won 3 Grammys for what?
I didn't even know she put anything out last year.
And she was up against a couple of good records.
Though,
that Clara record was really good, I thought. And yeah, so
that's old, isn't it?
No, it came out this year. There's a new one, and it was massive. So it's very strange. There's shady deals going on. I don't know anything about it.
Oh wait,
I'm just saying.
I thought you were talking about a St. Vincent album.
I just want to win a Grammy.
You want to win a Grammy?
I want to win a Grammy. And I
well,
think
maybe if
there's got to be one if we look at them. I'll look right now.
I was thinking of some other categories only like for extreme Grammys.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Or like eyewall categories that would be funny. What do you think about this one? Bluesiest Bend.
Bluesiest Bend would be good. Yeah.
That'd be a good category, hey? And everybody, they just play the clips of like, it'd be like one part of a Joe Bonamassa song. It'd just be like a really bluesy bend.
Yeah.
You were talking to me about bends recently, and it was really cracking me up.
Well,
I just how bending is that, like on message boards, like on Gearspace and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's a big
topic.
Well, Gilmore.
Well, that's the consensus.
Oh, do you remember when do you remember when we figured out that one guy had won best liner notes?
Yeah,
at the Grammy for
he's won more Grammys
years.
than anyone.
Yeah,
in history. I wonder if I could get him to do my liner notes.
Yeah, you should.
Maybe I almost win a Grammy, you know?
Yeah. Well, I just think we can do
cool.
it. I think we can get into it. I think
you
we can
think we
figure
could
it
beat
out.
the liner notes guy?
No,
I don't think so.
He's gotten in.
Not him.
He has an in.
We can't beat him. Man.
No, he has an in. I don't know what it is, but he has an in. The liner notes guy.
You can't beat him.
No, I mean
is he doing? It's funny, like, because is he doing any of these like Kendrick or like Charlie XCX liner notes or something? Or
I don't know if maybe he's retired on his millions and his shelf of Grammys at his house that he has. Maybe he's curling.
I want to know what liner notes he did, like whether I have any of the records.
I'm sure he did like Springsteen. That feels right.
Really?
That just feels right. That just feels like the kind of thing that's going to win you a Grammy, doing like the liner notes in a Springsteen thing.
Springsteen would win for best wrist accessories, if that was a category.
He's up there. I mean, leather.
Banding.
Well,
best
I think
banding.
I mean, you got to figure out categories for this. Really, these are all for the seniors Grammys that we're talking about, which is like how to keep them relevant. It's like, I always remember, I think it was your mother who said, it's the and this is really the genesis of all of this, actually, is when we were talking about how your mother said you can tell that things are strange in that boomers are clinging on by the fact that Idris Elba is always named the world's sexiest man every year, and George Clooney.
Yeah,
it's not like a 25-year-old; it's like a 55-year-old, 60-year-old man. So like he's the most attractive man.
It was Clooney for her. That but maybe then Idris Elba. But it was like it's switched. But she just couldn't go. She
could still be Clooney.
When it's someone like my mom too, who loved Clooney more than anybody for years, and then just 1 year it was him again, and she was like, "No, like enough's enough here."
Yeah,
come
on, guys. Just let someone else have it, you know.
Austin Butler.
He is very difficult to like, that guy, isn't it?
Hate him, but
very
surprised
difficult.
His team isn't like put him up for it, you know.
Yeah, well, that's coming.
Who else? Who's kind of the sexiest guy now? Actor.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't really know.
One of those Irish fellas, maybe.
It used to be like it was Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Well, it was Leo, Brad Pitt.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. No competition. In the 80s, Tom Cruise, maybe.
No.
Early 90s.
Yeah, no.
early
Not as
90s?
a sex symbol.
Cruise? I think so.
I don't think Cruise was ever a sex symbol.
Oh, I beg to differ. But Clooney and Brad Pitt, they had it on lockdown.
they had it locked down. Yeah.
Now I'm not really too sure.
It's just it's a very fractured society.
Yeah.
There's too much information,
Yeah.
and it's coming in from all angles.
Yeah. Well, we'll look at the categories, but it just needs to be addressed in case anybody was boycotting the awards. Just so you know, a little bit of here's just a little.
Why would people boycott the awards?
Well, not boycotting. I just mean people just like I don't want to watch that shit. Whatever.
That's sort of where I'm. That's kind of where.
Well, of course, but I just want to know that I let everybody know in case they missed the highlights that the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Bob Marley all won Grammys.
Well, no, didn't Bob Marley beat the Bob Marley didn't. I think the soundtrack to the movie beat the Wailers.
Bob Marley's Greatest Hits, which is basically what the soundtrack is, won Best Reggae Album of the Year.
Yeah.
Somehow it was able to be nominated.
And he doesn't get to win it because he's dead.
He's dead, but...
So he doesn't get the Grammy. Who gets the Grammy? The guy from the movie?
Yeah, I guess. The director?
And John Lennon doesn't get a Grammy? The first Grammy to be won using AI?
Yeah.
Come on.
John wrote the song.
He doesn't get the Grammy.
Well,
yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
I just think that I didn't realize that a compilation could win an album like a rock. So Beatles' Greatest Hits could win Rock Album of the Year.
It probably will next year.
It will. Imagine if you did a movie that the soundtrack was like Prince, Stevie Wonder, Beatles, Bob Dylan.
That's going to win. Maybe that's what we need to do.
Album of the Year.
Yeah, we should do that.
And just have it nominated for Pop Album of the Year.
I don't know how you get nominated.
I think you pay someone.
Well, Collier knows.
Yeah, he probably pays someone.
Well, we know someone who got nominated. Actually, we could ask their management.
Yeah,
we could.
I
know it cost an arm and a leg.
Look, everybody who listens to this podcast knows that I used to run in a circle with one of the members of Lifehouse.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
And he just sort of took me aside one day and said, just so you know.
Yeah.
You don't pay to win.
You pay to play.
But you pay to get nominated.
Yeah.
You pay to play at the Grammys.
Yeah. You miss all the shots you don't take. So we're paying $10K cash in an envelope. Non-sequential $100 bills.
It's a stack of envelopes in a board meeting. And it's like, let's see which one's the thickest for these basically.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no doubt that's kind of what in a roundabout way.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did the Kinks ever win a Grammy?
I really doubt that.
Did they win anything?
I doubt they were ever even nominated, to be honest.
True.
Unless it's like a weird later thing or something like... I mean, Lola was their biggest hit in America, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could start talking about the Kinks. Before we do, I just want to give a shout out, it being a Wednesday, to our friends at No Smoke Coffee.
Well, I actually had something. I'm drinking one right now.
Yeah.
First of all,
I'll just say quickly. I just want to say this is not like a public service announcement, but
sounds like it's gonna
they're
be.
getting hit hard by this whole tariff thing because of the quality coffee that they buy and use to make their delicious coffee. So, it's a hard time to be a Canadian coffee roaster.
The tariffs don't exist.
Well, not yet, but the fear of them has raised prices.
The fear is liquid. It's right there for all of us.
Yeah, the prices have skyrocketed anyway. I don't know since the postponement of them, but anyway, if these things do go into play, and you like a good coffee, maybe throw them a little order. iWall 15,
If I'm drinking one right now, shout out to send them to me. I would, for anyone who's listening and wants to know a little bit more about No Smoke Coffee. What does it mean, for example? Well, at its core, it means no gimmicks. Okay.
Yeah.
So not really. I mean, if you were to sort of translate that into the music of, like the British invasion, probably the Kinks.
Yeah.
Probably the Kinks. The most raw, bluesy kind of just like straight to the point. It's less less kind of shticky.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No filler, really.
Well, not as much.
I just mean
Maybe.
like only what you need and in its essence.
Its
purest essence.
Pure essence. So listen, in a world inundated with companies, coffee companies, not just coffee companies, salt companies, pepper companies. There's companies that make everything. Anything you buy is made by a company.
Yep.
So in a world like that we live in, and everyone's boasting about who's making the better everything all the time, right? In that world, these guys at No Smoke have a really fucking smart idea, okay? Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's opt for a different approach. Whatever happened to that kind of approach? Humble.
Yeah.
Let the product do the talking.
Yeah.
They've wrestled with all these cliches and the urge to fit into the crowd, but that's not them. It's not us either. And you know what? Does our business suffer because we are trying not to fit in with the crowd? Yes, absolutely.
100%.
It's the consequence of being a true artist. And art comes in many forms. Ours is a slightly surreal Beatlesy podcast. Ted's is really good, no smoke, no mirrors coffee.
I think of No Smoke as like, now that I think about it, it's like the coffee example of
I'm thinking about it.
You could go into a studio and
100%
record a song, like a bare bones of a song, and you could add a ton of double, triple tracking, processing, RX suite, ozone, AI tuning, all this kind of stuff, and come out with like whatever Jacob Collier pop, like or you could just go in there with a really good song and some of your friends and play it and sing it and record it and come out and it sounds good, it feels good, it smells good, and it tastes good, and you don't really need any more than that.
So here it is. Here's the ADMA, actually. This is it. I can see it now. Here it's the guy goes into an espresso shop, coffee shop, and there'd be a series of sequential ads on. It'd be different kinds of work. It would be like the first one would be a guy goes into the coffee shop, and the guy's making like this, doing crazy latte art. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just insane, and it's taking ages. And then there's just a cool guy who just picks up a black coffee, drinks it, and says, "You should try this."
Yeah, or it's like,
and the guy drops his coffee. And then same with the studio. It's like you've got Jacob Collier in a studio. He's doing, it's crazy. He's basically sleeping
Beethoven, Yesterday by the Beatles, and Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, and he's mashing it together.
And then at the end of the ad, after 30 seconds of this, and like steam is going off and stuff, James Taylor just walks in with an acoustic.
Exactly.
And then it just says, "No smoke, no mirrors, just good coffee."
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's good. That latte art guy's doing like Starry Night by Van Gogh on the latte.
Sure, it can. It can blend with music.
Yeah. Sure.
Starry Night. Yeah.
The painting or the Mona Lisa or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever.
Yeah, he can do that. And
then there's another cooler guy who works in the coffee shop
who's not
just like looking at him, who's just kind of he just pours and he's like, "Hey," looks at him. He's like, "You want a coffee?"
Nice. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And maybe that, you know what? That's for Ted. Now I'm thinking maybe that's it. It's just like, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as fucking, it just is like their slogan is, "You want a coffee?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
That's
There's nothing more to it.
No, it's a tautological approach. Anyway, I've got a great deal for you guys. If you go to nosmokecoffee.com, soon probably to change to .ca in solidarity. I'd like to see that. You can order all sorts of coffee, and if you use the promo code IWOL15, as Johnny told you, you get 15% off your order, which is quite a lot in this economy.
If you're using American dollars right now as well, it's essentially free.
Yeah, which it has been for most time. And I tell you what, legitimately, I drink this shit every day.
Yeah, me too.
And it's really good. So, without further ado, let's get back to the show. Kinks, 1964, debut album. October the 2nd.
Pull up Wikipedia here.
1964, I've got it up right now. October the 2nd, 1964.
Yeah.
Was released.
What's going on in England at that time, James?
Well, I'm going to tell you actually a little bit because I was trying to I actually did do a bit of research because I've been a bit untethered and listless this entire year so far, and I just wanted to give a little bit more to the pod.
Nice.
So I did do a little bit of research here because the thing is we know this record. Actually, I do, but I haven't listened to it for ages. It's so good, but I wanted to get a little bit of context on it, where it fits in relation to the British invasion.
Yeah, please.
So
illuminate me.
I like to think. Ground zero of the British invasion, March 22nd, 1963. Please me.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, I think
the
so.
British invasion begins. D-Day.
Or like the release of Love Me Do, the single, maybe, or something.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
We can do that if you want.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. It's interesting. But yeah, either way, same album.
Okay. Second album of the British invasion, Beatles, with the Beatles, which is about 6 months after, isn't it?
You could argue that one is the kickoff because it's All My Loving, the She Loves You single. Like, I don't know if Please Please Me in the UK, how explosive it was.
Right.
But like with the Beatles,
It's
for
happening.
sure. Yeah.
Like we're storming the beach. At this
exactly.
point.
Yeah, exactly.
Blow the bloody doors off.
Yeah.
Early 1964, April, Rolling Stones covers.
12 by 5.
No, R&B covers. Yeah, the Rolling Stones record.
Oh, that isn't 12 by 5 their first album? Which is R&B covers on it, essentially. 64.
It's their second American studio record. The first one's the Rolling Stones, yeah.
Oh, just self-titled? I didn't know that.
Well, I think now this is interesting because I'm thinking we have different discographies in England, and which we probably do. Yeah, so like we've got I don't know that record. We've got the Rolling Stones record in Britain.
Oh, interesting.
And then you get England's newest hit makers, and then 12 by 5.
Okay.
So they're American records. So that's okay, sure. Let's pop that in.
I think of 12 by 5 Kinks.
October 64.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we got?
Well, that's what you're saying. I'm saying the Rolling Stones' first record in the UK.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying when it invades. You want the invasion date?
Sure.
Is about 6 months after. So everything's going to... Listen, there was probably tariffs back then. Everything's delayed. I've got the British dates here.
Right.
We're preparing.
It's been a while since I've thought about this stuff. So,
this is the war room. This is Churchill, darkest hour. We're preparing for the invasion here. Based on these dates. It might happen 6 months later when he says go.
When did You Really Got Me, the single?
We're not even there yet, John.
Oh, we're not there yet? Okay.
No. This is the thing.
I thought maybe we'd been there.
Please Please Me, March 22nd, 63.
Okay.
Beatles, Hard Day's Night, July 10th, 64. Still not got any Kinks yet.
Really?
No. Animals, September. House of the Rising Sun.
Wow.
October 64, You Really Got Me, the Kinks.
Huh. Okay.
Followed up at about the same time by a very good record, The Five Faces of Manfred Mann. Kind of jazzier, a bit jazzier, isn't it? Diddy.
Diddy's that early?
Yeah.
I didn't even know Manfred Mann were English, to be honest.
Diddy.
I thought they were American, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Purely based on their covers of like Quinn the Eskimo and Blinded by the Light later. When they were more like the Earth Band, Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
So yeah, there you go. And then 64, late 64 is the Rolling Stones, and then we're just into kind of Kinks. Help is 65. That's when it really the
65.
leap.
About it.
That is the moon landing right there.
It should also be noted that the Kinks, I guess, because I believe Face to Face came out in
66?
65. Tired of Waiting for You came out in 65.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. No, no. Ugh, I'm way off. I was thinking of too much on my mind. I'm sorry. Tired of Waiting for You came out in 65. So that's like, yeah. So they must have made another 2 albums at least in 65, the Kinks.
Controversy. It's kind of Kinks, controversy.
Kind
and
of Kinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're onto the kind of sophisticated writing of that we start to know Ray for, a little bit more.
That's where Luke kind of drops off. According to your text thread last.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that I think Face to Face is 66. I'm starting to think that these are these are the records. It's like an inverse to like the Stones, or maybe so it's an inverse to like the Beach Boys. Like these records are like it's not going to. We're finding the gold here.
Well, okay.
Instead of Come Dancing and stuff, like you want to go on and look at Percy and stuff like that.
It's all good. It's all good with the Kinks. I want to say, particularly this early stuff, I am ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
I haven't slept since the last pod because I listened to Kinks, the first album, which I have the LP
I'm
on.
glad you're doing this.
And I hadn't heard it in a very long time. A very long time. And it was so fucking good.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
it was so explosive and so like just punk and raw and
garage.
Oh, and
garage
not
record.
only that, there were all these songs on it that I used to cover in my 60s cover band when I was a teenager, like Took My Baby Home.
Yeah.
And I was like emotional at how good it was. And I suggested on the last pod that we skip it and go to Kinda Kinks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, apologies. I listened to it. It's wonderful. I'm happy to talk about it today. I'm excited to talk about it. Is Dave Davies the true punk vocalist of the 60s? Like, his voice is incredible on the record.
Certainly
kicks it off.
In general, he's underrated. If the Kinks are underrated, Dave Davies is like, as the shadow man to his brother, is underrated. Like, as a
Sings
guitarist
about half
and
the
a
songs
singer.
on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, the guitar playing too is
really
so
good. That tone, of these old 60s records, like the sort
Mm-hmm.
of early the R&B stuff that they're doing in England. I mean, this is a much more aggressive sounding record than like even the Stones and the Beatles.
For sure.
And it's okay. So here's where it gets interesting for me: is like this record comes out. This is an R&B record, like a proper R&B record, and like this is like what, before the Who and the Yardbirds and stuff.
I think so.
So it's like, what about that? Like, they're doing like Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and stuff, but they're doing it like in a garage way. Like, it's not.
And like in a more teen angsty sex.
Yeah, totally. It's a raw and aggressive.
Like just like keyed up energy that, you know, like pissing on the crowd, pimple faced,
a little bit
fuck you vibe, it's
primitive.
Great. Yeah.
So I started thinking about like, what about? They sound like the Seeds or something.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, the energy it was exploding out of my speakers.
Yeah,
like the drumming, like Mick Avery. It's just like the pace and frenzy of his drumming is just like nothing probably anyone had heard.
So the producer of the record is an American dude.
Shall tell me.
Yeah. Who did then do I Can't Explain in My Generation.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a part of it. I think Ray would say he's a part of the sound.
Well, Ray doesn't like him, does he?
Oh, he doesn't? Oh.
He doesn't like anyone, does he?
No, he
So
doesn't.
Interesting as well, before we go on, because I think that this is how committed I am to like, to the podcast, Frank.
Actually doing a podcast about the Kinks?
That, but also just keeping my dopamine levels up and not like jumping off a bridge. Like, I'm like finding ways.
Don't say that.
listen, I'm saying that I'm getting.
Yeah.
I've got a book coming,
Good.
right? And I'm going to look it up here. So if like get it, if people, what's so cool is when I bring
remember the
up
name of it, A Complicated
Ray
Life.
Davies, A Complicated Life. It's a book written by a guy called Johnny Rogan. And the thing that's great about this podcast is every time I mention a book on it, someone messages us and says, "Oh, I've read that. It's really good," or like that book was very inspiring. Much in the same way that music works. So this is a cultural kind of rhizome of knowledge. But I'm going to read it over the next month. So if anyone else wants to dive in,
Yeah.
I'm
gonna do it
because then at least you'll be able to catch me when I'm just referencing things that I've read in the book and pretending that they're my own thoughts, which is kind of what podcasting's about in essence.
Of course.
It's just pretending.
Johnny Rogan, and we could try to get him on the pod too.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, is like getting
no
people
relation
on.
to Joe Rogan or Seth Rogan.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I doubt that either of... Well, I can imagine Seth Rogen might like the Kinks a bit.
He probably does.
Yeah.
You know what the thing about the Kinks is, because I've had a little bit of trouble. This is just
I think
as
Joe
an
Rogan
aside.
would think that You Really Got Me as a Van Halen song.
Definitely. Yeah, from his time UFC adjacent lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The Kinks.
That's a good... Sorry, just like, look at this, the concept of a UFC adjacent lifestyle. Like referring to yourself as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
much.
have a UFC adjacent lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like I'm
the
not
way I've
not
seen
in the octagon,
No.
but I'm around it.
There's a lot of people who have a UFC
Yeah. Oh,
adjacent
see?
lifestyle. Yeah.
You see Boston Pizza across the street
God.
on a fucking UFC night, dude. There's a lot of guys in there with full Hawaiian pizzas and team pictures just watching people kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And that's pretty UFC adjacent. Then they go home to their wives.
They might
And children and
There's a lot of
families.
people who have a UFC adjacent lifestyle who don't even watch UFC. believe
Yeah,
me.
probably, yeah.
You see them around
They just drink Monster Energy drink.
and start fights and stuff.
Yeah. A lot of people think they can fight now because of watching it on TV.
Because of UFC.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what was I going to say?
I have
Oh,
no
yeah.
idea.
Kinks.
Are we ranking, by the way, here today?
Yeah, let's do it in a
Fucking
bit.
nice.
Kinks. This first Kinks album makes Please Please Me sound like a bunch of show tunes.
I agree.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, which is funny because Ray Davies out of it probably likes show tunes even more than Paul McCartney. We just don't
Vaudeville,
know
yeah.
it yet,
Not
like
yet.
we just don't quite know.
Yeah. That's
are they-
good. That's a good matchup.
Yeah. He's
Paul
like the
versus Kinks, and who could be more
skiffle.
vaudevillian
Yeah,
and show tunesy.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's music hall, isn't it? It's like George Foreman, When I'm Cleaning Windows. It's all
Yeah.
that stuff. Skiffle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
Exactly.
English storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the pagan Electric Eden style of stuff. It's the Preservation Act stuff, which is like, like keep. Well, it's all Lonnie Donegan, I think,
Yeah.
as well. Like, isn't he
Animals
just?
in the zoo and all that.
It's all it's the American version is like the Scott Joplin show tuney kind of Cab Calloway thing, all that kind of jazz hands and things like that. In England, I guess
Paul's
it's more.
Paul's a bit more kind of American Broadway to me.
He likes Broadway, yeah.
Ray kind of sticks with the English vaudevillian feel.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But what are they influenced by, Johnny, on this record? What are they listening to? Like, is it the same stuff? Is it Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, Cochran, those guys?
I think so, but probably a lot of names that like we wouldn't even mention because they've been forgotten by time.
Right.
Just whatever records were coming in, I think. But I think it's a lot of like hard hitting R&B.
Chicago blues.
Yeah, like it's obviously, I guess Beautiful Delilah is a Chuck Berry song, I think.
Cadillac is a Bo Diddley song, right?
Yeah,
And,
like how many covers are we talking about on this one? How many did Ray write? No, I think Took My Baby Home. I'm pretty sure is his song. I'm just looking it up here. This is Cool Stories in Rock. Yeah, Beautiful Delilah, Chuck Berry. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Like that's like
I'm looking it up here.
yeah, J.D. Miller. That's cool. Cajun Country Swamp Blues.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
I guess Long Tall Shorty must be a song by somebody that's not him.
Yeah. Don Covey, I know that name.
Okay. And then Too Much Monkey Business
wrote,
is definitely Chuck
Chain
Berry.
of Fools.
That's a good song.
Seesaw, these are... He wrote a lot of songs for Aretha Franklin. And obviously Stop Your Sobbing he wrote.
Well, that's an interesting one because to me, Stop Your Sobbing is like that. I truly had forgotten about it. And it was
so
like
good.
unearthing a rare gem. And it's probably the closest you get on that on this record to Ray Davies as he's to become.
Yeah, on this record for sure.
It's like that song. I think it's like it's got a tiny bit of the humor in it. Weirdly, it feels like humor.
Got to stop subbing now. Yeah,
Yeah, and especially the delivery. Yeah,
and he's sort of finds his voice for the first time. There's one thing you got
exactly.
do.
Yeah, it feels like him.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Whereas these other ones, he's like, maybe I can still sing like Otis Redding or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like...
definitely. It's less... That one's more twee. And it's girl groupy for sure. 50s.
Yeah, he figured out pretty quick that it, that his voice is better suited to, not pushing it into the grit. But he does have grit. He can grit. He can do it. On, like, Lola, some nice grit. And basically the Lola album, he really did something to get grit out of his voice.
Is So Mystifying his song?
That's.
I always thought it is. It's a really good song.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. Yeah, it definitely has his fun.
I also like Just Can't Go to Sleep.
Oh, so good, man.
Sleep was a big thing with these bands. John Lennon was really into sleep, being tired.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to consider.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. To Welcome to Cool Stories and Rock should be noted because I heard it right away and I remembered that Jimmy Page plays that 12-string lick off the top, which is super sick. He's on the he's on a few of these songs.
He's on The Who too. He plays so maybe it's the producer.
Shell tell me, yeah.
He's buddies. He's in on it. He's part of it.
But that you mentioned twee, and I just want to get this out of the way. Okay?
Yeah, please.
Before we go through all these albums. Mm-hmm. I think that the Kinks' association with twee and Wes Anderson has been a hit to their legacy. Like
I don't know enough about this because I don't think I've ever seen a Wes Anderson movie.
I'm just saying, even though it's probably made them more popular from the movies, a lot of people are like, that kind of stuff, twee stuff.
What songs does Wes use of theirs?
So many. In Rushmore, Nothing in This World Can Stop Me Worrying About That Girl.
Right.
Then you got Darjeeling Limited, which is all Kinks, the whole soundtrack.
Right.
Mostly Lola, I think. Maybe only Lola songs. But they're like his favorite band.
Yeah.
I swear there's some in Royal Tenenbaums too. But the association with that, I think for a lot of people, especially...
I've seen that one, the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, like sometimes you're working with musicians or something and you kind of reference music like that, Kinks, Zombies, and people be like, that kind of twee shit.
Right,
and you're like, what? I'm like, no, forget it in those terms. It's really good, But
you don't. It doesn't need to be in like a perfectly manicured, like house with nice wallpaper and.
The word
stuff.
twee didn't exist till about I want to say around the yacht rock, like 2006, maybe 2005, 2006.
I don't know when it originated as a word, but I know we did a really, really good podcast on it about 2 years ago. Where I just named things and you told me whether they were twee or not. And we kind of got to the bottom of it then.
Yeah, I know. It's a really... Well, the word twee is obviously a real word here. I'm just looking it up.
I'm sure
British.
It's been a word for a long time. No, it feels very English. I think it's been a thing for as long as I've been alive. I remember it.
Interestingly, the Oxford Dictionary definition
Says it's the Kinks.
cites an example that says, although the film's a bit twee, it's watchable.
Right, that makes
So
sense.
it was referred
Light.
it referred to pop culture already. So
Yeah.
excessively or affectly quaint, pretty,
this
or
is-
sentimental.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't
Chapped
see
lips.
I don't see the Kinks' music as defined by that.
It's a bit. It gets a little bit like it. You know
Quaint, perhaps.
You know what's a good song?
Yeah.
You know what isn't twee?
What?
You Really Got Me.
No, it's not twee at all.
It's fucking
get-
serious.
I guess
That
there
is
are twee-
serious business. That song.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to have sex with girls.
Yeah, that's really what they're trying to
That's
do with
pretty
that.
clear when you listen
Yeah.
to the record that's what they're
Pretty
interested
keyed up in
Yeah.
that one.
in. Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope they got to.
I think so. They probably settled down very young and then had sex with girls anyway, like most of the young men did back then.
Stop Your Sobbing. Well, he married Chrissy Hine, didn't he? But that wasn't
in the
that
70s,
wasn't till,
later.
It was
Later,
actually
yeah.
so no. I think because I was thinking about that and I was like, it's not because Stop Your Sobbing is the Pretenders' first single, right?
Yeah.
It's their very first single, produced by Nick Lowe. This is why, I'm in my wheelhouse.
I like
here.
this. I kind of like cool stories in rock.
Yeah?
It's fun. It's kind of fun.
Maybe it's fun. Maybe
It's nice to mix it up and be surreal for a long time and then sort of like actually, it's kind of fun.
I
to
mean,
think
I'm just
about this
winging
stuff.
this. I just think
Me
that this
too,
is
but
what
like,
happened.
it's like we had a blocker up, like a block for cool stories. I'd be like, no, I can't say that. And now
I do
feel like
already.
it's
I mean,
okay.
we were missing several, and I can't. We're not. There's the biggest cool stories in rock story that we're like. It's like try and talk about the Kinks' first album for 1 hour without mentioning.
I know,
it.
but we're not going to do the. They only
No,
have about
don't.
3 cool stories in rock.
and that's the
Kinks.
big one. So
That's
yeah.
one, and the other one is the U.S. tour and
Yeah,
Dave stabbing Ray with a fork. I think at a
Yeah.
restaurant.
He
or
stabbed
something.
something else, famously, and
Yeah, he liked
just
stabbing.
trying
and
not to say
cutting
it.
and-
Try not to
Yeah.
say it. Stop Your Sobbing
Yeah,
is the
Nick Lowe.
labor. Sounds like Labor of Lust. It's that. What weird production, really,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Lowe. Really weird sounding records.
Yeah,
Like I love Nick Lowe, and I love those first 3 Elvis. Obviously, well, the first one's different, but like I love those Elvis Costello records. I like the Pretenders first record. Stop Your Sobbing's cool. Sounds like a Nick Lowe production, but every time I actually, which is an interesting thing as a musician, every time I actually listen to the records, like technically listen,
yeah.
I'm like, this sounds weird. But I never really do that when you listen to music. You just listen to it. But when I'm like, oh, I love Nick Lowe, I should listen to how he does things and see if I like could take anything from it. And I'm like, this sounds like fucking really weird.
I've always thought that. I've always chalked it up to being like the kind of music he was trying to make, which is like whatever, like sort of like shooby-doo-woppy rock and roll,
Yeah.
but like with the late 70s technology
Mixed in and no
but
spring reverbs.
To me,
and
it's always
stuff.
felt weird in that way
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah. Whereas like Jonathan Richman records do that and it sounds fine somehow.
It's a bit.
I don't know.
It's a bit cacophonous, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Nick Lowe sound. It's a bit
It's-
like a
it's-
lot going on.
Yeah. And there's like not enough bleed or something.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, maybe that's it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Stop Your Sobbing. I was like, it doesn't feel. I was like, I was like, kind of for a minute today, like, oh, Ray meets Chrissy, and convinces her, or she, like, and she does his song that wasn't ever that successful at the time. It wasn't very successful, and it's like that seems very un-Ray like. To
I bet
be like,
she liked it. I bet
But-
she wanted to do it. Yeah.
So then I look it up.
Okay.
They hadn't even met yet.
Oh.
This is a decision that she made. Nick Lowe was not
Yeah.
that into it. She was like a big fan and was like, I
Yeah.
want to cover this. And he was like, all right, whatever. They did. It wasn't a massive hit, but it did chart. And she only met Ray the year later,
He probably heard it and was like, nice.
like Dylan does with all the Dylan-y people.
Send a note out. I'd like to meet her.
Yeah, 100%. They met in New York.
Yeah.
And the rest was history.
You know that Ray
way,
only
I
has
suppose.
he has one daughter,
Yeah.
like me.
So you are very.
like
Is that what you? Do you
So
feel,
I'm Ray.
Yeah. Very similar.
I'm Ray Davies. Yeah.
I've always thought that about you. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a fresh ranking sheet the way
You're
that
gonna
I would
post
like.
this too. You should post the ranking.
Yeah, we're gonna post them live
because this
as
is
we.
listen.
I'll
this
send them
is-
to you to post with the episodes. Oh no, then people won't listen to it. They will probably.
I think that I don't know if it matters that much. They'll listen to see how we got to such a number.
Yeah, it's true.
No, you should post it separately.
Yeah. Okay.
People love ranking.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
the only,
I know.
it's the only thing people do. Listing. I mean, lists and ranking.
Yeah.
That's
for
what
sure.
I do.
Yeah.
Pointing. I like that too.
Me too.
Yeah. You know that.
Hangability, Kinks.
This record.
It's fun. Like
Can
it's
we
aggressive, but
can
I
we,
put it
like,
on
put
this
it-
morning, and it was fine.
can we put it in relation to the stuff that I feel like the pantheon around, like that's around it? Like, it's pretty raw compared to like Beatles.
If you were just hanging out with your teenage friends, taking
Sick.
pills and drinking soda pop in the
Yep.
60s, it would have
Yeah.
been fucking awesome.
Yeah, proto punk.
Yeah. But I don't
To
know.
me, it's
dinner
more-
party, maybe not.
To me, it's more hangable, like less sophisticated and more hangable. If yeah, exactly in the conditions that you just set. If you were like 15, 16, that's a good time. You Really Got Me is like the coolest song. Like it's
Also, I could put it on at like if I'm like having some drinks at around 5 with some friends. It'd be fun.
all of that kind of music, the way it was recorded, is pretty hangable because it's not Jacob Collier level
No.
sophistication of digital perfection or whatever.
That's
It's all
confusing
lo-fi.
to people. If you put on Jacob Collier, people would kind of be like, how come the atmosphere in this room just got really intense?
Yeah.
And like, you know, is everything okay or something?
yeah,
It'd
it's
be
like,
almost
I'm
like if
worried.
you
You-
pulled out like a Bible.
Yeah,
And
it
you were
would
like,
be.
hey guys, I just want to
he's a
read
bit-
to you some
he's
passages.
a bit biblical. He's a bit of a Christian-y kind
It's
of
that kind of energy though. You
Yeah,
know?
like
it's
the overly happy.
guys, there's something I just really want to tell you about like a friend of mine.
You realize we live in
His
dystopia,
name's-
Jacob.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
like what good a use are you like contributing with this absolute fucking mess, like clusterfuck of music meets technology, and then
So go ahead.
no, it's UFC adjacent mentality as
Yeah,
far
it
as
is.
I'm concerned. I'd
Lifestyles,
rather
yeah.
take that.
I just thought of something really funny that
Yeah.
you'll like. That the other night, a weekend ago, I had a friend over, and Alex and my friend and I were hanging out. We had quite a bit to drink,
Yeah,
and after dinner, we had a big dinner, and I laid
I've
on the
been there.
couch, and I was just like picked a record to put
Nice.
on, and I put on "Bridge Over Troubled Water" by Simon and Garfunkel, and the next day they were like, yeah, that was actually like really weird when you put on "Bridge Over Troubled Water" and laid on the couch.
yeah.
And like it was so
The
intense and
mood
mellow.
yeah.
And that was the fucking original. Imagine
know.
if you put on his version.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty
So-
funny. You just put it on and kind of went into like a daddy's dark place
Just
of like
kinda
benzos. Yeah.
Food zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Food
just like,
coma,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna go take a moment here. But you forget that everyone else is in the room with you.
Yeah, and they're just trying to have like
Are
a
you
chat.
okay?
Yeah.
John? You know?
It's
You're
like
listening to
building with the
Bridge Over-
strings.
Yeah. Sounds of silence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm thinking, imagine if you put on the song that won Arrangement of the Year at the
Yeah.
Grammys.
Derangement of the year.
Derangement. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Thank you.
The award for derangement.
I
of the
thought
year.
thought I'd won it with the UFC adjacent lifestyle, but I think Derangement of the Year just was the ace on my king there.
Yeah, there you go.
Hangability. I don't know. 6
I'm
or
saying
7.
8.
Oh.
I think it's more hangable than the Stones and the Beatles. It's cooler. Like, You Really Got Me on it, Johnny. Like, that's one of the best songs of all time. It's one of the most important. Imagine listening to that. Okay, you're hanging out with your friends, okay, and around the record machine.
Yeah.
You're presumably someone's parent, like it's a richer friend whose parents neglect them, because that's ostensibly what happens with richer people. You're round at their house. It's 1965, and someone has a 7-inch of You Really Got. Nothing has sounded like that before.
No.
And that comes on, you're like, let's go cause some chaos.
Yeah,
the whole world would open up to you.
That's the way it sounds to me, chaos. It's like, I imagine these 4 young men
Yep.
with the energy, not maybe them in real life, but the guys playing music on this record, if they walked into like a school dance, I would just imagine them terrorizing the place.
Or just imagine the scene of walking into a school dance, and then that song comes on.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is going to be fun. This is a hang now. I think it's an 8.
Sure. The rock and roll from this era too is just a whole lot of fun.
It's a whole lot
It's just
of
a
fun.
whole lot of fun to listen to.
Whole lot of shaking going on.
Yeah. Technical ability. It doesn't really matter. It's good though. They're a good band.
5.
No, it's got to be
6.
better than that. Maybe 6.
6?
Sure, 6.
Not the
6.
Beatles, are they? It's not.
No,
as,
but
it's not as
tight sounding.
sophisticated. Yeah, it's not.
You got some
not
session players on it and stuff too.
hop. Well, blues hop.
6
on
is
this
fine.
record.
It's
6 is
good. They sound good.
Yeah, they sound okay.
Natural ability.
It's not there
7.
yet.
6 or 7.
It's not
quite
there yet. I think
It's a lot of
5 or
soulful
6.
energy.
It's
though.
not. Yeah. Okay.
kinda-
6.
6 is good. They're good. It's already there on You Really Got Me.
It is.
And Stop Your Sobbing. Live
Yeah.
performance. It's good. They're singing live.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
say
think
7, man. 6 or 7.
It's not fully developed though. I'm thinking of the other records at the same time.
Might get worse for the Kinks. I think these early days when everyone's gigging a lot is when they're a lot tighter. Like, I think then it gets kind of like drunk. Like Dave's a bit
What are we on
drunk and
technical
stuff.
here? Did we do technical?
No, live performance.
What did we give him for technical?
6.
Okay, live performance, like it's
Like
like
5 or 6 is all I'm saying.
It's,
Like,
it's fine. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not what's going on. You know what I mean?
No. Oh, I guess I'll go maybe 5. Sure,
It's not
5.
even like I Follow the Law. But it's not like you think about like Higher and Higher by Jackie Wilson or something.
But the performance, it's not. I just mean it's not like skills. It's like, but they're performing it well. What they're doing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
but it's not. It's not
like the
there
energy's
yet.
there. I'd argue that live performance is the energy there.
Okay.
You know, like that's kind of like, are you feeling the performance?
Sure,
and
okay.
you really are
That's-
on this.
yeah, okay.
I'll
6
say
is
6.
fine.
I'll say
Yeah.
6. Sex appeal.
Well, they're horny.
The album is pretty sexed up.
They're horny as hell.
Yeah, I don't know how people would have responded to it in terms of its sexual vibe.
Yeah, I mean, sex appeal. I think
They aren't that sexy as a band.
no,
at
but I
all.
think
They're-
like,
yeah.
but punk is like it. I think it's sexier than they are in like Village Green. It's
Yeah,
about
for
as
sure.
sexy as the Kinks get.
Yeah, it is.
7.
For sure.
They're horny.
Yeah, okay.
It's like it's not classic.
Teenage lust.
Yeah,
that
which
kind of
is
thing.
a
Yeah.
cool vibe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Fashion. The cover,
It's not very
their
good.
vibe
is
and the
it?
cover is not that great. It gets better, but it's never good for the Kinks.
No.
It's never very good. But the fashion on the other album covers is better. Kind of. They're kind of all bad.
Yeah, it's
Kind
not.
of Kinks is nice. This
Why
one's,
are they in? Why is it like demonic? The
Yeah.
cover. Like, what was the choice there?
It's a bad photo too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like fashion's not much here to me on this. It's like I don't know.
They're not
4,
there's-
3.
No, but like Face to Face is good.
Yeah, it's kind
Psychedelic.
of demented too. But yeah, it's psychedelic. I guess.
Fashion of the band, yeah, it's not really anything, is it?
Kind of Kinks. This cover, I don't know. My cover's better. Arthur's demented cover.
Yeah. 5, 4,
Kink Controversy is a cool cover.
4.
4, sure. Business Acumen. I mean, they got a huge hit.
It's a number one hit.
Yeah.
It's
So that's good. I mean, it's good business at this time that they're starting out in the right direction. Things go down in that way.
Yeah.
Maybe 7, 8. 7,
yeah, I think so. I think
if you have a number one hit, it probably secures you an 8. What do you think?
I think it secures you an 8.
I think that's a good rule. If you have a number one hit on the record, you get an 8 for business.
Yes. I mean, it's like one of the best. It's like a top 10 song of all time.
Rock and roll song. Yeah.
Like rock and roll doesn't exist without it.
Yeah, and also like the Van Halen updated version would score very low on all these categories from besides technical.
Yeah.
Innovation, ready? 10.
Yeah, because you know
that
why?
Song. Because of that song.
Do you know, I'll tell you an interesting thing about about that song, about the guitar tone specifically.
Okay, yeah,
no.
please.
10's fine.
It's got to be. Just if the song wasn't on it, it wouldn't be a 10. But
It
the
has
song
to be because of the song.
changed music. Endurance.
Have you ever slashed a speaker cone?
No. I don't have that kind of money. Sometimes I want a clean tone when I'm playing blues, you know.
That makes sense. You're more kind of Clapton than you are Davies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a rat pedal when I wanted to sound like Dave Davies.
That's more of a Dinosaur Jr. Maskus more than Davies, I think there, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Endurance. The song has endured. The album,
No,
not so much.
Not so much. As you acknowledge yourself, you thought we weren't going to do it. You should probably listen to
100%.
Please Please Me, dude. It's pretty
Shut
good.
Endurance. Yeah, I don't know.
But as an album, 5.
As an album, it's like a 5.
Yeah.
4?
4.
4. I don't think it's endured as an album, really.
No, it hasn't. But I'm sure as hell glad I listened to it.
Yeah, Legacy. Maybe like a 5.
What did you just give him 10 in?
Innovation.
Right, yeah.
Because of the song.
Legacy, because
5,
of the slashing of the cone.
The
That's
song,
why
the
they got
album
Innovation?
itself's not a big. It's not like Please Please Me, you know.
No,
like
it's 5.
5 maybe. Sure.
I mean, I think, okay, actually, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
As a proto-punk, the thing is, like, you could say it's got a higher score here because it's like a precursor to some like garage rock and psychedelic punk, right? Like, but they're not. I don't know if it is. Like, I don't know if that's ever really. I don't know if that's who the Seeds were
We're
listening
just
to.
saying that.
Yeah, I'm not
just saying
sure.
that. Bands might have said that.
Yeah, but you never know with the Kinks if anyone was really listening. Or if they were like, we're doing that, but we're also going to, like, we're like MC5 and the Stooges, like, into it, maybe? I don't know.
I'm sure they were. But we don't know that for sure. And in terms of endurance, I'm also looking at the fact that, like, past 1965, the album never charted, you know?
Right.
So it's like, it's not like people weren't buying this in the 70s, you know?
Yeah.
So, whereas Village Green, maybe, or Lola, they might.
Well, they
been,
have. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. But Legacy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think
it's got that
5.
song on it.
The single Legacy is huge. The album,
Yeah, not so much.
5.
True. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll add it up here. Still haven't got that abacus. Maybe when we sell some T-shirts.
Yeah.
+6, +7, +4, +8, +10. 64. Interesting. The year it came out.
You couldn't write it.
You couldn't even write that, could you?
No, you really couldn't.
Beautiful stuff, man.
Yeah, really nice episode, and we'll just go kind of kinksy like next time.
Yeah, you know what else
Sunday.
I'd like to say is people,
Say it.
if people listening, if you can think of any modern musicians who you are fans of, who you know to be big Kinks fans, who have like cited them as an influence, let us know and we'll try to get them on the show.
For sure.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, dude.
Peace and
Everyone
love.
have a nice rest of your week.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.